Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, I'm Mariana and I interview the brightest minds of physical therapy. So if you want to increase your knowledge, start right now by subscribing to this channel, clicking on the bell so you don't miss anything, give us a thumbs up and share with our friends. Today, our guest is Jamey Schrier, and he's going to talk about the challenges business owners face as they get started and grow their businesses and how to overcome them. Jamey is a physical therapist who started his practice in 2001, and now he helps other practice owners to build and scale their businesses. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hi, Jamey. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, and welcome to PT Pro Talk. So let's jump right in. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how did you get where you are right now?
Well, I'm a physical therapist by trade, like you, and I've been doing this for a really long time. And I just always had a passion, a desire, something kind of burning inside me that says, I want to open and have my own business one day. And I finally got that opportunity way back in 2001. I opened up my practice, and it was everything I thought it would be. I had my fiance, my wife now, and my fiance doing the front desk. I was doing the treating, and it was great. I was doing things my own way, treating the way I want. No one was telling me how to treat. No one was telling me and getting on me about all this stuff. I could see people as long as I want. I could bill the way I want. I could take vacations and take days off the way I want. I could see the type of people I want. And that's how I got going. And then what I began to learn is that over time, the challenges in your business start to change. And I started to feel really anxious, kind of worried. We started hiring people. I really wasn't sure what I was doing. I just thought that people just worked the way I worked. But I realized that they didn't. People wouldn't show up sometimes. People wouldn't answer the phone the way I wanted to. I mean, all these things that like business owners go through. And it started to really stress me out. Financially, it was really difficult to get patients and then turn around and treat the patients and then bill the patients and call the insurance companies to collect the money. I mean, you're doing every single job in the world. In 2004, we had a freak accident. My place burned down. There was a fire.
Oh my God.
And the whole thing burned down. And I remember we were driving back from just a mini getaway, one of very few mini getaways, because I was working so much. But we were driving back, and my father-in-law called and said, "I think your building's on fire." This was on a Sunday. And I went to my wife, "Good. I hope it's my suite, and I hope it burns to the ground." Not something really a business owner wants to say about their practice, but that's how stressed I was, because I knew I wasn't going to work on Monday and I had a day to kind of just chill out. So it was at that moment, really, I decided that, what am I going to do here? I'm kind of struggling in the business. I really don't know what I'm doing. I wasn't taught any of this in school. I'm good at treating. That's what I know how to do, but I wanted to do this. So I spent the next 9 years learning actually how to build a business, how to build a private practice the right way, and doing it in such a way where I wasn't a slave to the business. I wasn't trapped in the business 60, 70 hours a week like I was previously. And in 2013, that dream came true. I was working 5 hours a week, maybe, in the business. I had a team of 15 people. We were doing $1.4 million. Making good money, making an impact in the community, living the kind of life that I wanted. And I started sharing my story. And then people started reaching out and said, "How do I do that? I want that." And that's how I got here. So now we created Practice Freedom U, and we're helping other business owners from the solopreneur all the way up to the multi-million-dollar practices, how to build and grow and scale their business.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I think that's probably a very common story that a lot of business owners pass through and get stressed about and question themselves, what I'm doing. I have no idea what's going on, why I'm doing this. why I'm getting so stressed. Is that even worth it? So let's talk about the challenges we face in all the different phases of our business, in all these different stages. So let's talk about the solopreneur. So what do you think are the most common challenges in that stage, and how to change that, how to solve these problems?
So the biggest challenge we have as business owners is we're all taught and trained and reinforced how to be good clinicians. And being a good clinician does not necessarily transfer to having a good business. So the business of physical therapy is different than the clinical services of physical therapy. I, like most people I've spoken to, thought if I'm just good at what I do and take care of the patients in front of me, I'll be successful. Unfortunately, there's other aspects of the business that doesn't make that true, such as understanding marketing, understanding how to communicate, and actually, here it comes, the S word, sell your services to other people. And then, of course, it's the hiring and the operations and the management and the financials. All of this is beyond the clinical services of delivering the care, which is immensely important. So that is the biggest problem we all face. So I just want to take you through kind of the stages of business. Most of us start out in kind of the solopreneur phase. There's kind of two phases to that, sub phases. There's the solopreneur who's kind of moonlighting, or what's the term? It's their side hustle, right? I'm old, so I say moonlighting, but it's the side hustle. So they're working their full-time gig, and maybe on the weekends or at night, they're treating a patient or two here and there. Then they're like, okay, I'm ready to take the leap. I want to do this. So they quit their job and they go all in. And now it's pretty much still just them. They're the solopreneur, and they start to see patients. And, most of us can wrangle together some people because we have a network of people. We have our family and friends who, I can't tell you how many family and friends I treated initially to kind of help me out that were having problems. And now we're starting to get busier. The biggest problem there is really just having the ability to generate enough business. All right, we can generate a little business, but we need to generate more business. So learning how to connect and build our network of people so they can start, referring us people. Most people in this stage is operating on word of mouth referrals. It's just you, it's just word of mouth. Now, here's what starts to happen. You start to get busier, right? You're generating more revenue. You're starting to get busy. And now your schedule starts to fill up. Well, what happens when your schedule fills up? You now don't have actually time to go out and do the marketing and the connecting and all the things you were doing before. Also, what happens in this time is, especially if you're taking insurance, you start getting the denials. You start getting the crap that comes from insurance companies that then stops you from doing what you're doing to address those problems. The busier you get, you start getting more people canceling or no-showing or having questions or changing their appointment times. So you, as the solopreneur, pretty much the only person, maybe you have a part-time front desk person, your time starts to go up. So you were working 30 hours a week in the business. Now you're working 40, 50, 60. Because not only are you getting busy treating, you're getting busy with all of the other operational marketing stuff that who else is going to do it? So then what happens after this solopreneur stage, we start getting this, I refer to it kind of this overwhelmed operator stage. The overwhelmed operator is, unlike the solopreneur, or as we call it, the committed clinician, You start to hire people. You hire people in hopes they can help relieve some of the stress, relieve some of the burden that you have. Now, I can tell you firsthand, and having worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people, that doesn't happen the way we think it does. So hiring people causes another level of problem, because now you have other people you're responsible for. Perhaps good people, perhaps maybe not so good people. How do we really know until once we hire them? So we use kind of the hope and pray model. You know what the hope and pray model is, Mariana? We just hope and pray they're good and they just do their job so I can focus on treating patients and doing what I have to do. Well, when the hope and pray doesn't work, we start to have lots of problems with the employees. And again, we're not trained for this. We're not prepared for any of this. So many of us, and I would say, just kind of gauging in my experience, 95% of business owners kind of stay in this $500,000 to maybe $1 million range. This is where most practices are, maybe a little bit more, but it's this overwhelmed operator stage. And this overwhelmed operator stage is because the biggest challenge there, unlike the challenge before, the biggest challenge here is really putting in systems and organization and making sure your people know how to do what they're supposed to do, which takes the pressure off of you. And then, of course, when you really get firmly into that 7-figure, things start to change. You have more systems in place, but now management becomes so much more important. And you start to put in your management team, which again, you as the business owner, you're going through evolutionary changes. You were doing everything as the solopreneur. Then you were kind of doing everything, but still managing your small team. And now you're doing different stuff, managing your team, leading your team, and all this other stuff. So there's different problems along the way. And then, of course, as the business continues to grow, other things become important. But where most people never seem to get away from is this overwhelming operator stage that gives people the freedom and the time that they want, as well as their money, without being stressed 24/7. So those are the different stages of kind of private practice life.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And now that we talked about these different phases, so how do you think that the PTs can get out of that stage and progress to the next one, and then face the challenges and then progress to the next one? So let's say the solopreneur. In the beginning, it's hard to generate the business. So what do you think they should be doing on that stage? Just networking, working on their marketing. So how do you see that problem being solved on the first stage?
Yeah, so this is where a massive amount of effort needs to be put in, because when you say, and it's interesting how you said that, you're like, should they just be doing networking or maybe some marketing? And it's like, marketing is a multi-billion-dollar business. There are so many different aspects of marketing. When people tell me, Jamey, should I just be marketing more? It's like, marketing what? That's one of the problems we have. We need to get very specific in how we're spending our time, right? So at this stage, like where you're at right now, I would sense, if you're not treating 24/7, are you treating 24/7 right now? No.
Not yet.
So what you have is time. You may not have tons of money, but you have time. So the question is, how should you be using that time? The biggest thing that you need to be doing at this stage is building your network of referrals. Now, your referral sources could be anybody. It doesn't have to necessarily be a doctor. A referral source, as we like to call it, a referral partner, because we believe this is a partnership that we're creating. A referral partner could be anybody that has influence over your audience. So then the question becomes, who is the audience? In the beginning, most people's audience is anybody and everybody. I used to say, give me anybody that has insurance and a pulse, and the pulse is optional. As long as they had insurance, I didn't care. Come on in. Well, that was all fine and good until I started to hire people. And I'm thinking to them, we have an outpatient sports medicine, weekend warrior type of practice. And then they would come in and say, Jamey, 80% of your business is chronic pain. Because I was willing to see anybody and everybody. And because I spent a lot of time in manual therapy, a lot of time treating conditions a lot of other people couldn't treat or didn't want to treat, who comes to you? A lot of the chronic pain that can't be treated by somewhere else. So this is the mistake I made. I wasn't clear on the type of audience, the type of person I really wanted into the business. And that's where we kind of go awry. So the first step is get really, really clear in who your ideal patient is. Once you're clear on that, then you know who to reach out to, who has influence over that person. So if it's an orthopedist, fine. If it's someone that owns if it's a runner, could be a running group, could be coaches, could be trainers. And when you start to write all of these potential people down, you'll start to realize it's a lot bigger than you thought. So that's really where the focus is for someone like yourself, who's a solopreneur, who's probably doing anywhere from 100,000 to 300,000 in revenue, starting to build your business, build the revenue up, build the clientele up. That's where you want to spend your time. That is the most important thing. Nothing else is more important than that.
Absolutely. And I think that's very important. And just, as you said, looking for these referral partners that fit your perfect patient, and just trying to imagine all the possible scenarios where they could be and how can I be reaching them and all of that. Now let's talk about the second stage, when you're super overwhelmed with all the new hires and you are between the $500,000 to $1 million. So what would be your suggestion, advice on that stage?
Yeah, so as you get busier, you'll start to hire people. And this is where we need to get really clear on what you're about. Because there's mechanics of hiring. You can type in interview questions and you can get basic interview questions there. But what people really want to connect to is they want to connect to something that's bigger than themselves. They want to connect to a business that has a purpose, a soul, a future of what they want to do. So that means the owner at this point needs to really step back and write down, what's the vision of this business? What's the essence and the purpose of your business? Because if not, your business is going to be categorized just like everyone else's business. I don't know if you've noticed this, but physical therapy has become a lot like coffee. It's just a commodity, right? Coffee is coffee. Yeah. Starbucks changed that. Starbucks put a soul, a purpose to coffee. Before that, it was just 50 cents for a cup of coffee. So in physical therapy, a lot of people, and I've spoken to a lot of docs, and I'm sure you have too, and a lot of other people, it says, I'm going to physical therapy. No one says, I'm going to get a cup of coffee. They say, I'm going to Starbucks or I'm going to Dunkin'. So the reason they say that and what we can take from that is we need to get clear on what we're about, why we're doing this, what moves us to build our business. Because we want to say, I'm going to that physical therapy place. I'm going to Tondo PT, not just to PT somewhere. So here's what this does. When you're creating your vision and mission and values of your company, the things that of what your company is about. This does take some deep thinking, and it doesn't happen overnight. You then can use this to attract good people. When you don't do this, you attract whoever's available. Now your problems will multiply. We've all gone through this, that are overwhelmed operator stage. It's almost impossible not to go through it. We just don't want to sit there for too long. The key to business that is outside of you is your team. It's all about your team. And the people in your business want to connect with something. What they need to connect with is what you share, what this is about. That will separate you from the competition. That will separate you from the big places out there, or even the other PT practice that's across the street. So that's the first place to begin. Then you can use that to begin attracting, interviewing, and making sure the people that you hire connect with your values. They connect with what you're about. They believe in the work that you're doing. When you're able to do that, you then bring on people that are open and willing and coachable to learn how you do things. If not, this will cause more frustration than anything. For example, you hire someone at the front desk. You show them how to answer the phone. You say this, but they still don't do it. They still don't do anything. They come to you with every single problem. They're interrupting you constantly while you're in patient care, asking you how to do everything. Even though you show them, even though you try to help, it may not be the person that's really there for the reasons that you want them to be. So that's a huge component. The other big component in this overwhelmed operating stage is making sure that your staff is set up to be successful. What do I mean by that? Successful could be the same person. You hire this front desk person, really nice. You like them, they love what you're about. But they make a lot of mistakes at the front. They make a lot of mistakes entering things in the computer. They make a lot of mistakes with the schedule. Well, why? They're nice. They're willing to be a part of this. Well, the chances are they haven't been properly trained, and there may not be clear systems in place that they should be following, because we as the owners never put them in place. We've talked a lot about them. We've said a lot of this stuff to them, but we've never taken the time to really put this in place. Again, this is something we haven't done before. So this phase, this 500,000 to $1 million, and this continues after $1 million too, it's just refined more, is really about attracting and training and providing people an opportunity to be successful. It's not about doing everything for them. It's not about answering every question that they have. It's about creating an environment where they can succeed.
Awesome. And now the last stage. I mean, that's a lot in there. We can talk a lot more about it. And I think that's one of the challenges for the business owners, to just put everything in place, as you said, implement the systems and make it really easy for anyone that comes in to follow the steps and know what to do, and have everything set up for them to help them, guide them through the process. But now, once you go over $1 million, so how do you face that challenges?
So when you start to go over $1 million, what happens is your team is now growing. Over $1 million, you'll have anywhere from maybe 10 to 25 people, right? Your revenue now is 80, 90,000 a month or more. There's different things that will start to develop. This is where we need to move into starting to build in management, starting to create a place where you'll do this before. When you start hiring, you'll start delegating, but now you're delegating a lot of your management duties. Whereas between, let's say, 300,000, 400,000 and $1 million, the challenge you are is you're doing everything. So you're now delegating, such as treatment. You start hiring other therapists. You hire a front desk. You hire someone to help you with billing. But you're still managing all of these things. You're still the only person that's managing each one of them. When you go over $1 million, now you start putting management people in place. Other leaders in your business, you start putting in place and start training. This is where the clinical director becomes important. The office manager becomes important. The senior PTs become important. The billing manager becomes important. These things, the marketing person becomes important. This is what will help you continue to grow without putting all of the burden and the onus on you. This is what continues to happen. $2 million, $3 million is continuing to refine this. I have someone I'm working with right now. She's doing about 5 million. These areas are not in place firmly. And it's causing a lot of problems in the business. Financially, they're doing well, but it is on shaky ground because there's not clear, organized management positions in place. And that's what needs to happen. And then after that, it's really about creating and developing leaders and creating the culture that you want. And in my experience, Mariana, the culture really starts way in the beginning. The culture starts in your first few hires, because the culture really is about what your values are, what your beliefs are in your business, and whether or not people are embodying those beliefs. Because if they're embodying those beliefs, that is the culture of your business. So those are the different phases between a solopreneur, the overwhelmed operator, and then someone that is in the 7-figure business.
So now the question is, how PTs that are just clinicians, how do they develop all of this? How do they learn or go after and know how to implement that? Because they are going to need help, right? We are not trained by this. So what is your suggestion?
Yeah, well, first of all, business is not for everybody. We know that. Some people enjoy working for someone else. That's cool. That's not me, and that's not you. So there's something inside of us, might be a little DNA issue, but there's something inside of us that we just have this courage, this grit, this desire to want to go into business and to want to dive in. In order to do that, you have to also have this ability to make mistakes. And you have to have this thing that failing, so to speak, which we really haven't done a lot in our lives, especially our professional lives and our academic lives. Failing becomes a part of what we're doing, because when we fail, we learn. We're always trying to learn. We can't think our way through this. And too many times we treat doing business as a research project. We're researching, we're building our business plan, we're doing all this stuff, but we never actually take action on any of it. So for people that are you're smiling, for people that are in this world of this solopreneur, they've committed to it. So they've got to cut the ties with their full-time job as you did. Now it's the time to make as many mistakes as you can, but to do it in action. This is where you get out there, believe in what you do. You know more than most people on the planet know about whatever your specialty is, about health and well-being. Now our job is to get out there and share it with people, specifically people that have influence or potentially themselves we could help. And you share that and you go out there. That will be a lesson of learning more than I can teach you or show you a book about. You'll learn it by doing. When you start to do that, you'll start to learn what works. What you say works well doing this, maybe not doing this. But this is where a massive amount of activity comes in. What we teach our people is don't talk to me unless you spoke to 20 referral partners. don't talk to me before then. Because if you spoke to one, it's not enough. When you spoke to 20, you now have enough experience that you will know what worked, what didn't, what you can improve on, what you would change if it came up again, what the communication and the conversation was like. Of course, at that point, you're also going to have a lot of people that have been referred to you. So you'll be able to reinforce some of those connections and people that you've met. That is, as simple as it may sound, although it scares the crap out of people, that is what it takes at this level. You just got to get out there connecting with people. If you do that, I promise you will get busy, and then you'll have the next set of challenges. The next set is getting help and starting to hire other people that can help you, which is another level of fear. Because, of course, now the fear is, if I let go of this, someone else is going to do it, but they're not going to do it as good as me. So there's that level of fear. But to your question specifically, this is all about grit, determination, identifying who your audience is, identifying who has influence over them, and reaching out to them. I don't care if it's on Messenger, email, Facebook, in person, on the phone, through text. It doesn't matter. It's engaging with them and seeing if you can help them. Because that's what we do for a living. We help people. We don't just help the person in front of us. We're also helping the person that's referring them to us. And that's something that we fail to miss sometimes.
Yeah, I can associate with that. I've done many of these things and many not successfully. So I think it's all the learning curve. You try something, and I think what you said, like for us, the idea of failing is, it's hard because our life is pretty much like straightforward. We go, we study, we graduate, we do extra courses, we are good at what we are doing, or helping many people. And then when you start that, you are not used to that kind of, I don't know if it's like the fear of rejection or fear of failing because people don't want your help. And like, but I know I can help you, but yes. Just getting the opportunity to be in front of them and showing and proving that you can help. So I think that's the battle between you exposing yourself and being out there and dealing with that fear of like, well, these people, they didn't want my help, and let's move on.
Then you
next.
beat yourself
it's not personal,
up.
and then
maybe something's wrong
what did I do
me?
wrong? Yeah.
Right. I need to learn more stuff. Something's wrong with me. You see, this is perfect, because what you're talking about is what the real issue is. It's not how do I do it. How do I do it is easy to say. Oh, I need to learn more how to do it. I need to take this course and read this book, because what you're really doing is procrastinating, and we are awesome at procrastinating.
That's another thing, because I identify with that. Yeah, you're afraid of taking action, but you're just gonna learn and see what works and doesn't when you really take action. So it's perfect.
Mariana, this is where we need support. See, this is where we need support. Being a business owner is lonely, right? It's lonely. Yeah. There's not many of us out there. And the ones that are out there don't usually talk to one another. We're too busy trying to figure it out ourselves. And if I say to you, Mariana, are you having trouble? I don't know how to do this. You'll be like, well, I'm doing fine. I know how to do it. Like, because we have this pride. And the reality is most of us don't know what the heck we're doing. I know I never knew what I'm doing, right? There was years I didn't know what I was doing. I told everyone else I did. I smiled when people said, how are you doing? I'm doing well, because I felt shame. I felt all those things you just said. But when I connected with a group, when I connected with other people that would support me and says, you know what, I get it. It's okay. Just do it. We're here to support you. You'll survive this. That then gives you confidence to go out there. When you go out there, I want you to get rejected. I want 10 people to say, Mariana, I'm not referring anyone to you. You're horrible. I want you to get 10 people to say that, because you won't.
I'll hang up on you.
Or hang up on you. You won't.
Yeah.
Not if you come just being yourself and being the genuine, awesome person that you are. But having people in your life that support you, having mentors and other just peers to support you is a huge thing to help you get through this. This is the biggest problem we all have. This is the difficulty that it is, because we're smart people that haven't had a lot of failure in our academic professional lives, who are now going into a world where failure is imminent. Failure actually is your lessons, is your teaching. Whereas in school, you taught and you took an exam. We didn't say I failed 10%, but I still got a 90. We say I got a 90, I got an A, which was great. Here, your learning comes with actually doing this stuff, and then having people in your life to support you as you're doing it. These are the things that I've learned. It's not so tactical. There is strategy. There is principles to learn and understand. But in the beginning, where most people, like the millions of people lie, maybe not in our field, maybe there's tens of thousands, where they lie, it's just getting into action to overcome the procrastination and the fear of inactivity.
Yeah, because you don't have like something that you know, like, well, I'm going to study these and do this test. And then after that, you don't have like a specific way that you know the order of things and what you have to do. It's a lot different. You just try different things, and sometimes you take them out of your head. You don't know what you're doing. You're just trying things, so you don't have a clear path. So I think that's hard for PTs that are used to the rationale, the thinking, the logic, and then you are in a world that, as you said, the failure is imminent. So you don't have a clear path to follow, and I think that's what's hard, make harder. So,
and this is what's confusing out there, Mariana, because this is what I've learned over 20 years being in business, and I still go through it now. This never ends, because there's always next levels in your business, and there's always the next level of fear in your business, because fear is the unknown. I haven't done this before. But what happens is you get used to having the fear, which kind of turns into excitement, which turns into, I'll figure it out, or I'll have other people help me figure it out, right? And I'll have a support structure that's going to help me go through those highs and lows. I experience those. Every person in the world experiences those, whether they tell you they do or not. It's human nature. But when you come from a very intelligent academic world that did things in a very different way than business does things, we have to learn to embrace that. And that's the hard part, being a successful business owner. That right there is the hard part. And we all know that. We know what it's really like at night when it's just us and we're getting anxious, or we get those fears or those butterflies or those things, or our brains all over the place, or we get the tons of emails from people. That's what I realized. There's no secret 30-day secret to 100 and more new patients. There's no secret. You already know what to do. So does every person here listening. The question is, do you have clarity in the type of person you want to have in your business? Do you have clarity around who has influence over those people? And do you have a support structure that can help you through this? Because it's lonely. The other thing is you just need to do it and realize that every time you, quote, fail or get rejected, it's a learning experience. We have a saying, some will, some won't. So what? Someone else is waiting. So the question I have for you is, how quickly can you get 10 people to not refer to you? Because that will help you get over and almost numb the fear.
Yeah.
And the
Exactly.
faster you can numb the fear, the faster you can start moving forward and take over what I believe is our innate courage and grit of just doing it. We're always learning. There's always more you can learn. That never ends in business. It never ends in physical therapy. It never ends. But it's this inner voice that just tells us how bad we are and how we shouldn't do this and watch that. It just paralyzes us from moving forward to do what? To help and impact other people.
Oh, I identify perfectly with that. I'm going exactly to that phase. Oh, it's interesting. So Jamey, let's transition to the final questions. Do you have any resource of information, anything that you'd like to share with us that you like in particular? Any books, papers, anything?
Yeah, well, first of all, I wrote a book on all of this, on all my experiences called the Practice Freedom Method. You can pick up a digital copy on my website, practicefreedomu.com. And it's right there on the front page. You can click and get an immediate download of my book. For people that perhaps already started their business, they're at least a solopreneur. We don't typically work with people prior to their business. I want to at least know that they had the courage and the grit to start their business and leave their job. I want to see that first. But for people that are in that 100,000, 200, 300,000, even a million range, but want help to go to the next level. So they want whatever that next level is for them. If it's 300,000, they want to do 1 million. If it's 1 million, they want to do 2 million. Then I invite them to have a discovery call with us. And we're going to discuss kind of where you are, what your goals, what your biggest challenges are, and determine whether or not it's a good fit on both ends to move forward. So the discovery call is free, although we really want to make sure that it's only for people that are serious about growing and building their business and that are willing to do what it takes to do it. Because I can tell you, it's not easy, but it's a lot easier than what we already went through in school. It's a lot easier than that. It's a lot easier than neuroanatomy and physiology and all that. But the hardest part is there something that you want that's so important that you're willing to do what it takes and be coachable that we can help you do this? Those are the people that we like to work with in our programs. And those are the people that are the most successful. And we've had unbelievable results with those people. So if that sounds like someone like, you and your audience, you can reach out at practicefreedomu.com/discovery call.
Awesome. So it's a good resource for everyone out there. And what would be an advice that you give to the clinicians that are starting their careers?
Their career as a clinician or their career as a business owner?
Well, the question was originally as clinicians, but we can adapt here as business owners since you are on the topic.
Do not let fear stop you. Do not let the lack of confidence in business, do not let all of the gurus, and I kind of put myself in that category, I guess, although I hate to think of it that way. The gurus tell you how difficult it is, or you can't do this, or yet, look, if there's something that you have a strong desire to build and create something, to create your legacy, to create your impact, to help others, as well as helping yourself and your own family, nothing will stop you. Nothing can stop you. Don't let it stop you. We need you. We need people, strong people that are willing to grow. What we don't need anymore is failing businesses. We don't need that anymore. There's too many of us out there that are failing in their business, and that doesn't spawn the physical therapy industry. It keeps us small and weak. You don't have to create a multi-million-dollar business if you don't want to, but the key is to be successful. Successful is the way you define it. That's what I'm here to do, is help those people be successful in the way you define it, because that strengthens our industry, strengthens our community, and helps us help more people who absolutely need our helps. You can do this.
And good. It sometimes from time to time, it's just good to hear this encouragement. And what personal qualities or abilities that you think are important to become successful? As you said, you already talked about the fear, right? Anything else that you think it's important to become successful?
Well, I think success is really about, I mean, there's a great book called Grit. I think it's about grit. It's about courage. I mean, true success is how you define it. True success to me is not just about money, but also is about, am I living my own purpose? Am I aligned with my values? You know, true success and wealth is all about, am I physically healthy, mentally healthy? You know, am I contributing back to my profession, contributing back there? Like, all that means success in my life, not just financial success, because that's kind of empty. It's nice, you buy a bunch of toys, but it's empty. And I think the key factor in that is, do you have the grit? Do you have the courage, even when things are dark, even when it's difficult, to continue to push through? And what's interesting, every single one of us have already demonstrated this many times because of what we did to get in school. There was no definite to get in school. We had to put the work in with the hope to get in. And then we did. Then we bust through school to get out of school and pass the boards. And then we had our first job or two. Now we're moving into business. We've already done this before. So that's what it takes more than anything else to be successful.
100% agree. So Jamey, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you being here and sharing this, all your knowledge and your motivation, your encouragement to help us move forward. And for the ones who want to learn more about you, your work, do you want to leave your contact information, your website?
Yeah, practicefreedomu.com/discovery call, or just practicefreedomu.com. You can check out and see some resources on there.
Awesome. So Jamey, thank you so much. I really appreciate having you here.
Well, thank you, Mariana. Appreciate you inviting me here, and hopefully people got some good information.